folks, welcome to M&M Custom Lures. We're a brand new YouTube channel and you're here watching our first video, so I'm glad you found us. What we hope to do on the video is have material or content for everybody, from somebody that's just beginning, wanting to learn how to tie baits on up. We also want you to see how we tie our baits. If you see something you like, just go check us out at our website at mnmcustomlures.com. We have some baits put up there already. So we hope to just be able to bring content that's, like I said earlier, from beginners on up, but we also want to share some of our experiences and things that we learned while we're on the water. So keep a lookout for that. The bait that we're going to be working on today is one that's been working really well for us for the last couple of months in a East Texas lake that's well known for its crappie fishing. That bait's called Sun-Kissed, and that's what we're going to be making today. Before we go to the tying, I just want to talk about the hat. That's Praising Jesus in the Great Outdoors. That's another YouTube channel that's run by Danny Campbell. He's been a supporter of us since before we had the business. He tries out a lot of our baits for us, tells us what works, what doesn't work, things that we need to change, and he's just a real good guy, so go check him out. So let's get all that out of the way and let's get to tying. I just wanted to kind of show you some of the materials that we'll be using. Even before I do that, just want to let you know we don't have any sponsors. We're not affiliated with anything. So the products that we're showing you today are just things that over the years we've tried and they work good for us. So to start with, we're going to be using a 1/8 ounce hatchet head jig. We pour these ourselves here at M&M Custom Lures. We use the Barlow's hatchet head mold. And then once we get the jig in the vise, then we're going to put some clear fingernail polish on. What we're using is Sally Hansen Hard as Nails. You can use, I guess, pretty much any clear fingernail polish. Some people even use super glue. The thread that we're going to be using today is a 210 denier flat wax nylon, and it's in fire fluorescent orange. So that's our thread. And then for our tail or our skirt material, we're using something that not a lot of people, I don't see a lot of people using for crappie jigs, and it's silicone skirt material. This one came from Barlow's. It's the silicone skirt layers, metallic foil, in the chartreuse blue foil. But just look at this, the color on this. I hope you can see on the camera the flash and the blue in that. Once we get our skirt tied on, then we'll put on a little more flash. This is a gold Flashabou. This came from a local fly tying shop, but you can get the gold Flashabou pretty much anywhere where you're getting bait tying materials. And then for our chenille, we're using this medium fluorescent fire orange. This also came from Barlow's. This is one of my favorites that I use, but you can use pretty much any medium chenille that you want. Some of the other things that we tie we'll use even the woolly booger, but for this one we're going to use the medium fluorescent orange. All right, folks, give me just a minute. We'll get the camera angle changed, everything set up, and we'll be ready to tie. See you shortly. Okay, to get us started, first thing that we're going to do is put a little bit of this clear fingernail polish. I think we said this was Sally Hansen's. Again, I'm not sponsored by anybody, so the stuff that I'm showing you are just products that we've used, and they seem to work well for us. So we're just going to put a tiny little dab right there, a little bit of do ya, and then we'll start to build our thread base. And again, I'm going to apologize in advance. I'm new at making these videos, so I am not used to having this camera between me and the jig. I'm usually sitting right up on top of it. But let's give it a go. So we're going to start tying right behind the head. Get some good tight wraps. I don't think there's a magic number that you need to get, but just put a few wraps on it. grab the tag end and we'll cut that off. And then we'll continue on to the hook. And then we'll come back up to the head. This is a size 2 owner hook. A lot of people use the 4s. If you're buying them from a big box store, you really don't have a choice. So sometimes they may be number 4 hooks in there. If it's a number 4, we're going to keep wrapping that thread back until it's at or just a little beyond the hook point. But because this is a 2, we're going to stop it right about here. It gives it a little bit smaller body. It is wintertime right now, and the fish just seem to like the smaller body. So now we're just going to wrap it back up to the head. Now that we've got it up to the head, we'll add some Flashabou on it. I'm just going to take one strand off of that bundle that I showed you earlier, and we'll cut it off right there. Oh, hold on. Actually, I'm about to skip a step. With Flashabou, I want the skirt to go on first. If I'm using Crystal Flash, that's something I'll show y'all in a different video. I'll put it on first, but the Flashabou, I want the skirt on. So here's our skirt material. What we want to do is use 14 strands of this. I've already counted it and cut it on one end just to save time, but we'll go ahead and cut the other end off. It's not rocket science, but I'll let you see it. There we go. We got it cut off. Next thing I'm going to do, I'm going to try to show you on the camera. If you're not familiar with this skirt material, you see it's cut into tiny pieces, but there's a solid tab at the top. We're going to cut that solid tab off. Just want to make sure everything is good and even. And if I look at it and I don't think it's even, I can trim it again. I am going to trim it just a little bit. There we go. Now we got everything good and even. We're going to lay it right on top of the hook shank. Get about 3 or 4 wraps on it. We're not going to pull them down tight. They're just good wraps around it. Then we're going to spread it out around the hook shank. Get it equally distributed all the way around. And then we do have a rotary vise, so it makes it a lot easier. So yeah, looks like we got really good coverage. So now what we want to do, we want to grab it right here and pinch really hard. When we start to try to tie it, when you pull tight on it, that whole skirt's going to try to roll in the direction of the wraps. And it usually doesn't roll evenly, so just squeeze it down real tight, keep it from going anywhere. And we're going to pull it down tight. So I felt it stop giving. And now we're going to take this and wrap all the way down to the end of our thread base that we started earlier. Now that I got a good loop or 2 on it, I like to take these little small hair clips and I just clip it right here to my vise. Helps keep everything wrangled in and in place. So then we'll start wrapping. Now stop it a little short of the top edge because this is something else I do. I don't know that it's 100% necessary. Well, I know it's not 100% necessary. You can keep wrapping over those, but I just like the way it looks when I trim these off. You just got to be super careful that you don't cut the thread. I clip these off as close as I can. I never get them all, but that's fine. It just helps it have a little cleaner, flatter look to me. I don't think the fish mind, but I like it better this way, so that's the way I do it. We'll build this up to where it's nice and even. There we go. And now we're ready for our piece of Flashabou that we cut earlier. Actually, no, we're not. I want to cut my skirt off. So before I cut the skirt, I want to mention it's tempting to kind of pull this tight and then cut it. We don't want to do that. We want to give it some slack. If we pull it tight and cut it, it's going to make the skirt much shorter and it bushes out a lot more. I just don't like the profile. So I give it a little bit of slack. And we're going to cut it about half the length of the hook. I'm going to cut that off. And I cut that first before I put the Flashabou, because when I put the Flashabou in, I want it to be just a little bit longer than the skirt is. So now I've already got my skirt and we're ready to go with the Flashabou. So we're just gonna double it around the thread. The short end will be a little longer than the skirt, actually probably a little good bit. We're going to place it right in the middle of the hook shank and make about 4 or 5 good wraps on it to hold it in place. We're going to come back here, cut both pieces longer than the skirt, and then we'll come back once it's finished and we'll trim those off again. And this is the one I struggle with, especially with that camera. It's a little bit shorter, so it's not quite as easy to work with, but looks like we got lucky. Well, spoke too soon. Yep, like I said, I usually struggle with this one. So there we go. And this one we're going to put on the other side. Same way, mid shank, right about the middle. We're going to get 3 or 4 good wraps on it, hold it in place. We're going to get all 4 of them and pull them back and hang on to them, because you remember earlier we talked about as you start tying, things start trying to roll. So we're going to hold that in place and get some good tight wraps on it. So now we're ready for our chenille, so we can make our body. So first thing I'm going to do with the chenille, I'm going to pull some of this outer material off of the chenille. This way I can see the inner webbing of it, kind of twist it up. Might even weten it a little bit. And I'm going to put it on here at about a 45-degree angle. And you'll see why I do that in just a second. You put that first wrap on it and it flips right up on top. That just makes it a little bit easier. So I want to set my chenille, the edge of the actual chenille, right at the edge of the thread base. Hold it right there, and then we're going to wrap this all the way back to the head. When I get to the head, I'm going to put a half hitch in it. I just wrap it around my fingers, put it over the top, and there we go. Just want to be real careful that that loop doesn't go over this eye. There's nothing more frustrating than cinching it down and seeing that over the eye. My vise has a bobbin cradle that makes it nice. I can just let that hang right there. And now I'm going to pull everything back, make sure everything's good and clean and out of the way. Mainly that Flashabou, it tries to get all in the way. I'm going to get this first wrap right as even with the base of the thread, and then we're just going to start wrapping. One layer touches the previous layer. Got to pulling some little bit of pressure on it so it's a nice tight even wrap. And once I get back to the head, I'm going to get right here. I'm going to give it a little tug. Tighten up on my string some, try to get my fingers out of the way so you can see what's going on. So we're wrapping this way. We're going to go under the chenille, come back over and do 2 wraps, under, lay it right over the top of the last one, and 2 wraps, maybe 3. I didn't count. And then we're going to cut this off nice and even with the body. So that gives us a good clean looking body. I'm just going to push that in. We'll catch the end of that chenille with a couple of wraps. Get it good and snug. And now we're going to finish this off. I haven't used a finishing tool in years, but I'm going to try to show it to you. And then I'll show you how I normally do it. So we're just going to take the whip finishing tool, hook it over the thread, bring this back over the back side of it, and then we're going to make about 4 wraps. 2, 3, 4. And then all we have to do is get that off. I'm going to pull it a little bit snug. These tools work great. They're fine if you're doing crappie jigs, but if you're tying spinner baits and big bass jigs, it gets a little difficult. So this is how I do it. Wrap it around my fingers, make one, make another loop. And you see that? I don't know if y'all can see that on the camera, but I just noticed that piece of thread went around that eye. We don't want that. Let's go back and get that. There we go. So we'll start it over. I'm gonna wrap. There's 1, 2, and 3. We're going to pull it down. I always double check before I cinch it, and we're good. So I'll cinch it down. I feel it quit moving. Take my little bitty scissors and clip that off right there. Then we're going to put our thread sealer on it. We use a water-based head cement. SDG Lures, that's a channel you really need to go check out if you haven't already. But he's got a cool video showing different methods of sealing the thread with super glue and fingernail polish and this water-based cement. The good thing about the water-based cement is it dries real good. It seals everything up, but it doesn't dry hard. It's almost rubbery, so it doesn't doesn't make the chenille and all that hard on the end. So now I'm just going to grab a hold of my long pieces of Flashabou. I'll cut them just beyond the skirt. Let's see what this one looks like. That one's okay. And there you have it, folks. We have the sun-kissed jig. Let me get it out of here so you can see it. And there we go. This is let's make him pretty for the picture. Fish don't care, but we want to make him look good. There we go. This is the sun-kissed jig. It's easy to make. Anybody can do it. That's what it looks like. One more thing before we go. If you like the colors, but you're not crazy, but you're hardcore soft plastics, check out our website. We've also got the same color pattern in our 2-inch crappie slayer. This is what it looks like. There we go. Same color pattern, but in the soft plastic. So if you like what you see, you think you might want some of it, go check us out at www.mnmcustomlures.com.